YouTube? This is Fear the Ghost, and this is my last video for the day. Now let's get into it. This is actually a tag team between me and someone else. I honestly can't remember their name. But I named this replay Man of the Match because my partner really doesn't do very much of anything throughout this entire battle. I'm not saying my partner is bad. He either just drew really bad or he just didn't wind up really being able to do anything. So I try to make some plays. I get to set multiple back row. He tries to make a play, and I tried to stop it. But it actually really doesn't wind up working very well. He has the wiretap set. So he goes into this, and he MSTs, or he hits my MST. I actually have two set, so it really wouldn't have mattered which card he hit, because they were both MST. And I revealed that during the end phase. My partner, for some reason, decided to use the unicorn. I don't know why. What's really lucky for me, and you'll see it in a second. Two things. One, he didn't use Delta's effect. And two, he killed the Lightsworn rather than this monster, which was mine. And I was about to have it next turn. And if you don't know what the field spell does, because a lot of people don't, since heraldics aren't very commonly seen, you can discard a heraldic beast to add a heraldry spell or trap card from your deck to your hand, and the two main ones you'll go for is heraldry advanced art, which is this card. Not heraldry advanced art, advanced heraldry art, and heraldry reborn. They have their own monster reborn, and this card is literally an instant XYZ. So it's actually really kind of, I'm not going to say overpowered, but it's the only thing that really makes the deck very good is the fact they have the ability to create an instant XYZ. And they also have this over here, which when sent to the graveyard, you are allowed to send two Heraldic Beast monsters from your deck to your grave. And Heraldic Beast Unicorn over here can special summon a Psychic XYZ from your grave by banishing it. Now, I have another XYZ over here. What it can do is it can take on the name and abilities of any XYZ my opponent controls, which is actually really good. And also, this field spell over here, you will see a little more about it later on, but you cannot, my opponent is unable to target my Psychic type XYZs. Other than that, there's really not that much else to say about the deck, except that we don't have all the cards here in the TCG, which is the only reason I'm not still playing the deck, because I actually had it, and I was really disappointed we didn't get the XYZs. Instead, we got Noble Knight exclusives, which I was very disappointed about, because I really don't like Noble Knights that much. Not because I think they're bad or anything, I just don't really like them. And he tries to attack me, but I have the Compulse set. So, my partner really doesn't do very much this entire duel. He gets rid of a few cards and gives me an MST. But other than that, mainly all he's done is waste a unicorn. And you'll see it gets even worse later on. My opponent uses his Dark Hole and summons Chiron. I really don't have much I want to do, so I just end my turn. My opponent really doesn't have much to do either. So my partner really just kind of, he's playing a really weird Lightsworn. He normal summons this thing, which I didn't even know this thing was a card. it gains 300 attack for every Light Sworn with a different name in the graveyard, and its base 400. And during the end phase, you send the top 2 cards of your deck. I mean, it wound up working out for us, but I really would have rathered they had something else. You'll see that my my opponent, he's having issues because he's not drawing anything. He actually does draw this. He draws a penguin soldier, which is actually going to wind up really annoying, as you'll see in a moment. It returns both my cards, so I normal summon his thing for him and pass it off. So he creates Exciton. Now, most people by this point should know what Excitonite does. It destroys every other card on the field, but you have to have less cards than your opponent in hand and on field. So he pretty much got Exciton in the ideal situation. You'll see my partner over here plays really stupidly. He just goes in and tries to attack the Exciton, and it gets to use its effect again because it's during either player's turn. So, my opponent's got the Raigeki break. I actually managed to get some effects off. I bide my time. I need to wait till next turn to really make my play I need to make. My partner draws the Mirror Force, but he really doesn't wind up having anything to Mirror Force in the first place. And I activate Aberconway, and my opponent reveals the Solemn Wishes, so I really don't have anything to worry about. So I add another one of these guys, and what he does is you can discard other Heraldic Beasts to special summon him. So I just make Chidori and throw his Excitonite back into the extra deck and go in for the kill. My partner really didn't do much that game. Also, we have this, which is it's another duel of me with the Ghost Trick deck, Ghost Trick Succubus Nimble deck that was done by well, I mentioned it before, Yu-Gi-Oh! For Real Men. And I activate the Ground Collapse, he draws, and I activate Ojama Trio, successfully filling up all 5 of his slots. And it's actually going to wind up really funny, because here, let's take a look in his deck. He has no MSTs, and he has no fire monsters. Which means he literally has 0 ways to destroy my Ground Collapse. Actually, does he even wind up having the... I don't think he even has Dark Hole in his deck. He really just does not wind up having anything. His deck was mainly Saki, and I opened up the perfect hand to deal with him. And he literally, there's nothing in his deck that can stop me now, unless I allow him to crash that Ojama token. But I just summon another Succubus and destroy the last token and successfully lock all 5 of his spaces for the rest of this duel. So he just winds up quitting. I have 2 others. I want 3 others. I think probably the next one is going to be Gladiators Killed a God. Now you'll understand more about what I mean. My gladiators are over here. I kind of play this, like, I was messing around with my deck, trying to figure out how to do stuff. Uh, you'll probably, the first thing you'll notice is the tiptoed in the reinforcement of the army in my gladiator beasts. Now you may be wondering what I'm doing with these. What I'm doing is actually the reinforcement is for this card down here, Radiant Knight, which he's a vanilla. He's 4, and he's also a pendulum monster. Now my opponent, he gets his pendulum scale off, but I managed to chain dispel his geomancy, so there's literally nothing left for him to really do if I destroy this one. So he tries to activate effects, and I really don't want to let him. So on my turn, I set the Dark Bribe and the Tiptoed, and he winds up killing off my Tiptoed. I draw another Tiptoed, so I activate these, and I make my Pendulum Scale. And this is something most people don't know about Tiptoed. When he's in the Pendulum, you can actually use his effect to switch your opponent's monster's attack and defense. So I special summon my Bestiary in defense mode, so I can destroy his only Astromancy left, to essentially block him from being able to use it. It actually works out fairly well, except he winds up drawing this. He draws Raw's Disciple, and he has the double summon, so it's actually going to turn out really bad for me. I activate the supply unit and put my Radiari in defense mode. So you'll see what I mean about it winding up bad. If I'd actually summoned my quest and face up defense, this would have wound up a very different duel. He activates the terraforming, he uses the upstart goblins, and he uses the card D again. And there's really not a reason for him to be doing most of what he's doing. He tries to do another pendulum. Oh, this is probably what he was doing. He wanted the Slifer. What? Okay, well, apparently it doesn't want to show us what happens. What winds up happening is he uses Raw's effect, special summons the other copies of Raw, activates double summon, tribute summons the Slifer, which winds up with a attack for each card in his hand, and it winds up attack for each card in his hand, 1,000 attack, and whenever I summon a monster in an attack, it loses 2,000 attack and defense. And I actually, I managed to take it out. I'll show you what I used to take it out. I made... Oh, that was his extra deck. That's why I was confused. I went into Gyzaris. I destroyed his field spell, and then I made not 101 Sky Blaster and put it back into his deck. And he really didn't have anything else to do because his entire deck revolves around summoning the god cards, and he didn't have enough life points to summon a Raw and be able to just sit there on it. So I'm sorry it didn't finish right. I don't know why. This is going to be the end because I've just about hit the 15-minute mark. So this is Fear the Ghost, and my turn is done.